This daf Yerushalmi Pesachim. In the article Ozva edition, we are on daf Yud Beis Amud Aleph, Hasiv Rabbi Yitzchak, which is the fourth line down, and in the Vilna that is on daf Tes Amud Beis. In the middle of the page, 3, 6, 9, about 12 lines down. So yesterday we said that there is this you try to say that Truma Torah after 11 a.m. should be allowed to be burned with Truma Tluya because you're Mesiach Das from it, and the Sachas Adas is a derisive problem, and therefore you should be allowed to burn the Truma Torah chametz with the Truma Tluya, with the Truma Tmeya. Sorry. So the Gemara said no, you're not Mesiach Das from it. We said it's kind of like roundabout because you want to be shomer the Truma Torah which is chametz, so kind of contact with stuff which is not chametz. So you're shomer it, perhaps indirectly, but you're still shomer it. So now I'm going to ask on that. Gemara says, Hey, Rabbi Yitzchak Brei Rabbi Chia Ksova. Yitzchak the son of Rabbi Chia, the scribe asked, when you put the Truma Torah on the coals to burn it, the chametz, at 11 a.m., so then, come on, you're not being shomer anymore. You're burning it. So therefore, at that point, you should be allowed to burn together. So with the Truma Tmeya, it's allowed to be with time. Should be able to time it down because it's going to leave it anyway. So it's a more fascinating thing. Mora says, you know what? Amalek Sheit Neno. Says, yeah. Once on the coal, says so if you put the Truma Torah down first and you start burning it, then you can put the Truma Tmeya together with it. Fascinating. Okay, now goes back to the previous point. I'm Rabbi Mother. I'm going to say Rabbi Shemi. I too don't mean Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon. You say Rabbi Shimon, Shimon's mother, Rabbi Shimon's Yoda, Rabbi Yeshua. Shimon's concedes Rabbi Yeshua that in the case of the Gasol Yoina, you're allowed to matame the stuff in the Gasol Yoina. It's going to go to Ibud and prevent going to Tas Tachtona. And Rabbi Shimon Saddam, who says that we make his dam, it's certainly more Rabbi Yeshua that you can be metame, that you're allowed to make his dam a mechor, which had a blood problem. You're allowed to let its blood, even though you might cause it a wound by doing so. You're allowed to make his dam. So if you allowed that, where you could theoretically leave it alone and see what happens. So it certainly allows you where there's inevitable loss of the truma to Tmei and the Gasol, going down to the Kas Tachtona of the Chulin, so that you're allowed to be where the truma Torah is going to go down to Chulin Tmei, and cause it to be cause a loss that you're for sure allowed to be metami the truma and stop it from going down. So says I have a bigger problem. He says, if Rabbi Yeshua, lazy Rabbi Yeshua. Even Rabbi Yeshua is not Rabbi Yeshua, right? Because the Chavish Nia, which is the case of the Gas Hayona, Gas Tachtoina, the upper wine press, the lower wine press, he allows him to be maybe a dime. By Chavish Rishoina, which is the case of you have Truma, which became Suffolk Tami, became Tluya. He says you're not allowed to be Ma'abed to Tluya, you're not allowed to destroy it. You're only allowed to do a grama, and if it's Makamutsa, Makamaturba, Mechuse, Yigalena, you're allowed to put it in a place where it becomes more susceptible to becoming more Tamei, to deteriorating further. But now to do a might be a dime, right? How do you reconcile those two? Right, so you're not allowed to be matameit, even though it has nothing to do with it. The tluya is the same like the tluya is going to. You're just waiting around until it gets deteriorates further. But ultimately, it's nothing to do with it now anyway. So why not burn it right away? That's carbonated shot. The Moshe says differently. And there's Lashitasim, which you spoke yesterday. There are two different approaches in the Gemara. He says the contradictions can't, which are Rishua Chavishniya, yes, but Rabbi Shur Mishnah, right? Rabbi Shur Mishnah is according to what we just said that you burn each one separately. So why do you burn each one separately if you hold that they are both it's going to go ibud anyway, right? The Truma Torah is just it's imminently going to become usher as chametz. So why did you just burn anyway together? So he says there are two tanoim. Tam Rei Meir B'Shem Yeshua. Rei Meir named Rabbi Yeshua says that you can it was holich ibud. You can destroy it. And yesterday, we had problems with what it said that Chavish Dikrai Meir Torah. Why bothers me Rei Meir? Could be because this line over here. In other words, they're saying when I say that that's Rabbi Meir as opposed to Rabbi Shimon who disagrees. And the time Rabbi Meir Shem Yeshua Bram Hach Rabbi Shimon Shem Yeshua here, as you say yesterday, it's the Tosefta. Rabbi Shimon named Rabbi Yeshua says that Truma Tluya shouldn't burn with together with it shouldn't burn the Tluya with the Torah with the Tmeah because it's only the Rabbanan at this point, not the Raisa, and therefore you can't burn them together. It's not really true Ibud the Raisa. Or that's going to be Moshe. That's going to be A. You would say that we said before the Rabbi Shimon is related to Rabbi Yeshua it's different in the case where it's going to die for sure. It's going to die if it's not done. But in a case where maybe Yo will come and say that Truma Tluya is effectively Torah. Okay, so let's go back now to Bechor. The different sheets by Bechor. Time of we learned a Bechor Achzodam, and this Bechor which has a problem with its blood. I feel amazed, even if it's going to die, Saddam, don't do anything to Divrei Yehuda. Just leave it status quo. Yakiz, you can do Me'akos Dam. As long as you make sure that not to make a mum. It must have been mum. You didn't make a mum. You can't shecht based on that mum because it's close to deliberate. Yeshua says no. Even you're going to make a mum, go ahead and do a kosa sadam. So now we're going to cross-reference that sugya with our sugya in Pesachim. Right? Rabbi Eliezer said, "Asad Rabbi Yehuda Krem Gamliel." Rabbi Yehuda is going to Rabbi Gamliel, who in the Mishnah said. Where's Gamliel again? Sorry, not our Mishnah. In Chavetz Rishoina. Chavetz Rishoina, we had the Brisa. It was on Chesamrav in the Vilna. Where was it? In the Art Scroll. Yudam Rav in the Art Scroll. Okay, so the way we had said that Chavish Chumash Nala Safik Tuma, Lazim Maisim Munachas Makam Turpa, Tupfa, Yinichem Makam Mutzna, Haisim Guli Chasana, Bishum Maisim Munachas Makam Mutzna, Yinichem Makam Trufa, Haisim Chusigalera, Gamli Omer, I Chadesh Ba Dover, don't change anything. Okay, so we're going back on that that quote from which we have made in the Gemara there, and we're saying that again. Rabbi Yevoshim I said Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Gamliel says I Chadesh don't change anything, right? The Rabbanan Rabbi Lezer and Rabbanan are going like Rabbi Lezer, that you have to be shemer properly, right? You have to therefore don't make a mum. And you made a mum, you can't use that to shecht it. And Rabbi Shimon, who says no, you can go ahead and make a mum. It's like Rabbi Yeshua, that you can take your chances, right? It was makom mechusa. It was mechusa. You can let it makom. It was makom meshur, but makom aturba. But still, it sounds like you're not supposed to do it deliberately. So we have another sheet in Rabbi Shimon. Tani b'shem Rabbi Tani b'shem Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Shimon Yakis Ab b'shem Iskavin Lasas B'mum. It's not Davar Shem Miskaven. Even Mechavim to make a mum, you could still be making dam. Who's that going like? Vaskab Shechanais. It's going to be a Shul Chavishnia. The Shul Chavishnia, so as you can deliberately tell me the Truma and the Gas of urine, if you're going down to the Gas Tachtena, so today you can deliberately make the mum in the Bechor. So Gemara says something pretty radical now. It's possible that he's not talking about that without you allowed to make a Bechor. To make a mum, it's not talking about a Bechor, sorry. Because by Bechor you're going to lose the Kedusha. Because it's Bechor if you make a mum. But rather, the Kachim Chai Bechor is Rabbi Shimon. It's talking about Kachim Chai in their Achrayas, like Rabbi Shimon, which are Kachim Mizbeach, with Chai in their Achrayas. So therefore, you're going to have to replace it anyway. You have to replace it anyway, so therefore, Kachim doesn't lose. By Bechor, there's no replacement for Bechor. But once gets a mum. That's it. But by Kachim Shechai Bechrusan, so therefore, you're going to have to replace it. So you're going to have to replace it, so therefore, there's no loss to cause the Kachim. So therefore, it's okay. The question is why according to Rabbi Shimon, who holds its Mammon Bailim, since it's Mammon Bailim, evidently it seems that it's not just because Hekdesh is not going to suffer loss, but because since you're Chai Bachrus, it's Kamom and Hediot. It's famous for Chaim in the stencil. I just look it up to make sure it's there. And Baba Kama Dafayim Vav, where he speaks about this, since you Kachim is back, Kachim Berek Abayis. Kachim Berek Abayis is like it's in the Kenyan to the Berek Abayis. It's Kachim is back, it's still yours, even if, not just going to be it's Kachim Kama Maman Bailamin, but evidently this is according to Rabbi Shimon, since you're Chayiv and Achrayas of Kachim Mizbech, then any Kachim Mizbech is going to have a din that it's yours in terms of at least this issue that there's no Isser Atalos Mum, because Atalos Mum, according to this, would be an issue of specifically Kachim Berek Abayis, where you're or Bechor, not by Kachim Mizbech Stam. Yeah, now I see they all bring down from River Plate. Moshe brings it down, and there's also Melecha Shlema brings down from the Rash Sirilio and Trumas. Even though it's interesting, this whole gear, so Amrai Bun Barchia Kumrai Vizir Tibata Kachim Shuchai Barchia Rabbi Shimon is not in the Maseches Trumas. It doesn't appear in the parallel Trumas, and Thanir says it's just it really is from later on Perik Beis Locha Beis, and somehow got copied here by mistake. But the Melecha Shlomo says that, like we said, which really be emotion. We said Shlomo Ochel Pidam Muzes for the Meruba, the Kachim Shchai Berchus and the Hedi Mikre. It's not Chaim, it's Gemara Radio. Meruba, the late was her Chom Mum Leabo, and therefore there's no morning of Mum Leabo, which specifically applies to Kachim Berek Abayis and Bechor. The Bnei Moshe has a long discussion about how we know by Bechor. This is an issue, but we'll leave that for now. So Rav Shimon Loki said, no, actually I made a mistake. The name Moshe is going to the next point. Time on Rabbi Yehuda. We'll see it. Rav Shimon Loki says, time Rabbi Yehuda. The reason Rabbi Yehuda now to make his dam by the Bechor says Lo Sochenu Artz Yishchenu Kamayim. Don't eat it. Its blood has to be spilled on the land like water. Only allowed you to spill its blood. So now on that, let's see Pnei Moshe. Time Rabbi Yehuda the Osla keys the Chsiv Lo Sochenu v'Dosh L'Haikra Bechor. He's on this person on Bechor. The Chsiv Rak Adam Lo Sochenu Artz Yishchenu Kamayim. And it sees Basrei, and it says afterwards in the subsequent pasuk, can't eat a bechor which has no mum in your own shorim. So the krokam and nabi bechor mishlei. It says first pasuk. It's also about bechor. It says domo el b'shvicha. I only allowed you this blood b'shvicha to spill. Avolola kisamo. But there's a special is here now to make his dam bo'ochu chai. While it's alive. So that's it. Not a cause of Saddam. Karmei is slightly different. He says el b'shvicha klomar l'shchita for shechting. Shein tzarich b'damo when you don't need the blood. Kamaim. Okay, I don't know. Let's just go with the name Moshe. Anyway, so hates Rabbi Abba by Rabbi Mori Achud Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi Abba Mori Achud, the brother of Rabbi Yossi, asks, "V'oksi Absul Mikdashin came." It's not just by Bechor; it says also by Absul Mikdashim. Al Oretz Tishbechenu Kamaim. So it says, Moshe V'oksi Absul Mikdashim Chalev Dashin Laikra the Absul HaMikdashim HaKosim Medaber. We learn this part about the story of Absul Mikdashim. We see Akar Shoskas Tzviva Hasayo. You'll have to eat this carbon like a deer or like a mountain goat. So there, it's the Absul Mikdashim. Vashamai the Rashta B'hai Tishbechenach Sibuhu. When are you going to learn about that case? It's already Absul Mikdashim. Can't be talking about. Can't be saying how do we make his dam? Why not? There's no problem with CS Mum. So, okay, by before I can dash, perhaps Kedashin. I'll just teach him to have to spill the blood like water and not make his dam, right? Now I understand the Korban is saying. That you'll have to show the blood later on when you're shaking it, but now you have to make his dam. But in any event, what are you going to dash with the where there shouldn't be any problem, right? There's no problem making a move. Why can't you be made? Well, what are you going to do with what it says there? It's just going to come in. Rabbi Chia Bar Arachim said Lachshir Samarta. That comes to teach us that dam, what dam is machshir l'kabel tuma. So the Moshe says is dam machshir kabel tuma. Beza eno machshir, which is what something sum kabel tuma and not what doesn't make it super kavatuma. Tashim tishchenu kamayim. We learned the blood which is tishchenu mamayim nishbachim machshir abdam nishbachu machshir. Blood which is you don't need is machshir. It's considered to be a mashke. Prat ledam kachim she'en machshir is opposed to dam kachim, which you need because you need to do zrika sadam. That's not machshir. The next sentence tends to be a little bit cut off, but it says, my machshir mavadam machshir, just like water is machshir, so too blood is machshir. But what kind of blood? Blood which is like water, that or you could just let it flow freely on the ground like water, as opposed to dam kachim, which you need in order to do zrika sadam. That's not machshir l'kabel tuma. Okay, Rabbi Avo b'shem Rabbi Yochanan said, "Shteim mikra echad dorshim." So they both are the same pasuk. It says the Pnei Moshe Shnei Rabbi Shimon Chachamim. Rabbi Shimon says you can be matir mum, and even according to the second shot we had, even deliberately, and in the Bechor, and Chachamim say not allowed to be matir mum in the Bechor. You can make us down, but you can't be mechavim. You have to try not to make a move. You made a move, you can't check on that basis. So they both are the same pasuk. Tami yelu ratzon kol mum yabo. It should be perfect to be accepted. The ratzon as being for according to ratzon Hashem, and no mum should have. So b'shimon omer b'shoshu ratzon when it's ratzon Hashem to have it because it's an animal which is healthy, ain't a rishayli tabo mum. Then you can't put a mum. B'shoshu ain't a ratzon, but it's not a ratzon. So Pnei Moshe says gon says achzodam ukaba mumu. It's no longer the ratzon because it's like a bamum because it's damaged, right? It doesn't yet have a true mum, but it's not the ratzon anymore. So Chachamim say no. Afilu kulam mumin enat rashayit hem mum. He says, the way Bnei Moshe says, kol mum. Masha afilu kfar moli mumin. Even it's full mumin enat rashai. Latil ba'od mum. Can't leave it to get another mum. And chenek Moshe, you have to leave it as is. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, you can't do anything to it. According to Rabbanan, you can make his dam as long as it's not in a way which is going to make a mum. You don't have any intention of a mum. You can't, and you're trying carefully not to give it a mum. Okay, we got the end of the second parak. Kol shah. Kol shah shemutzer lochal machil lebehema l'chayil ofos. So this is obviously Pashat. It says, but Moshe will say that you only kol shah shemutzer lochal machil yuk itzrich. Need for the flip to make for the inference. Take a shah also lechol the time which you're not allowed to eat. You're not allowed to be machal anymore to the lebehem l'chaya ul ofos. Okay, so the question is, who are going like talking about the fifth hour, between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. The Gemara is going to discuss it. Okay, so in any event, so the Arvazmana also by no. So once the time passes, you're not allowed to have any hanoah from it. Okay, so again, kol shashamuta lechol machil behem lechayil ofas machil nachim muta panoso. As long as you're allowed to eat it, you're allowed to do all these things. Arvazmana, once the time you're allowed to eat it passes, you're not allowed to have benefit from it. That's what ton of a crime you can't even use it to be as fuel for your fire in your oven. It says the only type of bir chametz you can do in biyotz in the mitzvah is burning the chametz. Gemara says, no, you can also destroy it by pulverizing it and scattering it to the wind or tossing it into the sea. Now, so again, as I said, we're going to discuss who's the reference to in our Mishnah. Rabbi Amos, what's time's reference? Rabbi Amantana Kol Shashimut Lechol Machil. Who's the Tana who says as long as you can eat, you can give it to eat to the animals. Also Lechol, also Lachil. Once you're not allowed to eat it, not allowed to be machil it. Remeir. It says you're allowed to eat until 11 a.m. So until 11 a.m., you're allowed to eat it and derive benefit from it. After 11 a.m., now allowed to eat it and now allowed to derive benefit from it. Bram Kabura by Yehuda Chamish is between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Abish also lachol, even though he himself is not allowed to eat it because of his additional harkaka. Mutlachil is still allowed to derive benefit from it and give it to his animals to eat. So Hasty Rabbi asks, what need to do with sour which is something which is partially fermented, is burnt. Has to be eradicated. But somebody eats it as potter. So the Rabbi Moshe explains, how is it saying they're going to clear a man? It's saying anytime you can eat, you can give to eat. Umashma. Kosher ochel machil. Umashma shimu who also lecho. It sounds like you're not allowed to eat it. Osnam lachil behema. You're not allowed to give it to an animal. Later on Parakimel. So which is partial chametz. Didn't completely become chametz yet. Yisrael has to be burnt. But you should also be achila, not allowed to eat it. But so now, if you eat it, you're patim mikares because it's not fully chametz. And then that, Rav Huna said Shem Rebbe. Rav Huna said the name of Rebbe. Probably there's a word missing there. Rebbe is probably Rebbe something. The Rav has against him Shem Rav, which may make more sense. That's I think a couple other people that gives it too. So Rav Huna b'Shem Rav. Mutachil klavim, you're allowed to give it to eat to dogs. So as Pnei Moshe continues, V'amar Ravuna lo b'shem Ra, or it says Rebbe b'shem Rav, v'lachil klavin harei shu en ochel, you're not allowed to eat it. V'afil hachim machilu. You can even get, and this after seems to be after the Shas Isser. So it's a scenario which you can eat, cannot eat, but you give it to your dogs to eat. So, all right, basically say, Ma'asina misne kol chametz. Says Bnei Moshe, what bitmiya? It's astonishing. What do you want? It says all chametz. Chametz shu ochel machil ktani. Does it say any chametz you can eat? You can eat the kashrulach misor. Ma'id Ravuna low, says Gemara. Shows. We're talking about hours. What happens afterwards with partial chametz is not a discussion here. We're talking about the hours, and chametz come on Erev Pesach. The case you're bringing down is true, but it's a different type of case. It's not our issue here. We're talking about shows. Montana shows Meir. Like hours work out that that's Meir. Okay, and your issue is it's a nice chap, but that's a different issue. That's not about hours. That's about partial chametz. Okay, so next one we're going to learn like read baz. They haven't used the read baz, I think, in a little while already. So all the Erevin, there was no read baz. I don't think we've used the read baz since the beginning either. I think there was a read baz at some point, but I don't think we used it. So Gemara says, from the fact that you should also be allowed to do beer chametz by giving it to behemoth hefker. Right? What's the difference? As far as ruach, give it to a behemoth hefker. So the Gemara is going to ask on this. So the question is from that lashon of mefarer, right? So if you're going to be the behemoth hefker, why should you have to break it up, give pirurin? Why should you just can't give the whole loaf? All right, but that already is on the next Amud. So we're going to leave the Haysiv Rabbi Yirmiyah, even though it's a continuation, until next time.